Couple again will take to game day, but there'll be quite a few guys that didn't practice full today, and some that didn't practice at all. So that won't be alarming to anybody that sees it. And then obviously it all came out yesterday, but we'll make a change at quarterback. We're gonna sit Will and start Mason this week, and Will function as the backup. Those are decisions that aren't easy to come by. There's a lot of thought that gets put into them, and at the end of the day, felt like it was the best thing for our team for these last few weeks to see what Mason can bring offensively, and that's where I'll let you guys go from there.
So Mason's going to be starting for the final 3 games, at least at this moment?
We'll take it week to week. I won't make any proclamations about anything else, but yeah, for this week for sure.
You had probably several opportunities maybe to sit Will earlier in the season, and you kind of stood by and said, this is our guy, and this is the season we want to evaluate him. What has changed now that you've made this decision?
I think I should be very clear about it too. This doesn't mean that this is the end of Will's ability to be a good quarterback. This is just situationally in the season and where we're at. We felt like we needed a spark at the quarterback position. He's kind of had 2 games that really have been a struggle for him, and we need to have better there. And just like any other player, when your play dips the way it did, and we have a chance to let somebody else go do it. I still believe very much in Will. I still plan on coaching him hard. He's still going to be ready to play. Those are all things that we have to be able to do, and he's under contract, and he's still part of our team. And so no different than any other position, and we're going to coach, and we're going to coach him hard. And there's things that he's really improved on over the course of the year, and those are things that we're going to keep working to improve overall. So.
You mentioned the accountability factor in the locker room. Did you talk to guys in the locker room? Did guys approach you? How much?
No, this is my decision to make. I felt like it was what we needed to make. So it has nothing to do with them and their player input anywhere, shape, or form. So these are the decision that I felt like was best, and that's how we'll move forward with it.
How much tougher did that decision come for you? Like knowing a big part of why you are here was to maximize Will Levis's potential.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision by any stretch. There was put a lot of thought into it. Went back and watched a lot of things, and consulted where I needed to consult, and those are just decisions that are difficult. It was not for. It wasn't for lack of coaching or pouring into. We've given at every turn as much as we can to try to put Will in position to succeed, and he's shown improvement. There's a lot of things he has improved at, but it hasn't. There hasn't been enough consistency at this moment, and so those are the things that we're trying to fix. But yeah, those aren't easy decisions ever.
How did he take the news when you told him?
Like any competitor would, and just like somebody I would expect. Obviously, not something he wants to hear, not something he is excited about, certainly. And I think he wants to show that he can play better than he has, and that's all part of it. It's the ability to handle that news. He handled it professionally, he handled it with class, but certainly wasn't excited about the news at all. So I wouldn't expect him to be.
Understanding that you got to just get ready to win the next game. How much does that decision kind of weigh on you and the rest of the staff, given that Will was a big talking point coming into this job about why you were excited to take this job?
Yeah, those aren't things that I think too much about in the moment. We can have those conversations at a later date. But, yeah, this is all about trying to get ready to go win this week and put the best possible product we can put on the field. But, yeah, those are things that are outside of my range of thinking at the moment, and we can revisit them at some point.
What are the reasons that you think Mason does give you the better chance to win right now?
There's things that he does. He plays on time. He does a really good job of moving the offense down the field. He's not him and Will are very different styles of player, and I think that's ultimately what we needed right now is the way that Mason plays. What gives us a chance to win this game this week.
Well, and you mentioned the game this week. The first game against Colts was a tight loss, a key late interception. Protecting the ball, give you a better chance of going into Indianapolis and trying to get this win?
Yeah, their record when they win the turnover margin is good. I think they're like 11-2 in their last however many games when they win the turnover margin. It's a defense that does a great job getting the ball out, does a great job forcing turnovers in general. So, yeah, that's a key part of beating any team in the league, but particularly the way that they play right now on defense. They do a really good job. So that's a part of the process, and we have to do a great job taking care of the football in all phases of the game, whether we're carrying it, throwing it, catching it, holding it in the pocket. Those things have to be on point if we want to go play well against these guys. But that's a good defense. that turns the ball over at a pretty good rate right now. So that's the challenge.
You stated that Will is obviously under contract for next year. Does he still figure into the long-term possibilities here in your mind?
Yeah, I'm not worried about any long-term discussions at the moment. I'm trying to get this week done and win this week. So those are all things we can revisit again at a later date. But yeah, I expect Will to be the backup, and he is. He's under contract here, and I still believe in Will. I still believe he can improve, and those things haven't changed. But for right now, this is the best decision for our football team.
You've made a lot of decisions, tough decisions since you've been here. I mean, this is one of the toughest ones just because of the position and because
Yeah.
it affects the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no shortage of tough decisions, and there's plenty more to come, I'm sure. So that's just part of the job, and it's not easy. There's a lot of things that you think about, and you make sure you think them through. And once I've made the decision, you just move forward, and you move forward, kind of full speed as best you can. And yeah, there's no shortage of decisions that have to be made, but this one is again, the nature of the position is challenging.
Multiple times about you having, using the season to get all the evidence about him you could. If
Yeah.
this goes the way you want, the next 3 games, it sounds like it'd be Mason. So you have the body of evidence you need to make Will judgments going forward?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get too far down the road. I'm just trying to get ready for Indy and see if we can put the best game plan together and play well this weekend. Again, those are all conversations for another day, end of the year conversations we can have then. No, I'm not going to make any proclamations or judgments about anybody at this point, particularly Will. As far as the future goes, we're just trying to put our best product on the field Sunday and see if we can go beat Indy.
Going back and forth from Mason to Will a few times, whether that was injury or now with this
Yeah.
move, do you have worries about how that'll affect the mentality of the locker room, any continuity?
No, not particularly. It's just the way NFL seasons go. There's guys in and out of lineups at all positions across the board, special teams included. So I don't have too many concerns about that. Guys are focused on their job and they want to go do as best they can. And the guys that are out there, they're going to go roll and they're going to go play.
You said
Some that feel like that you may be feeling that increased pressure to win, and that that factors into the reasoning as well with the.
Well, I think the best way to put it is there's pressure every day for us. I mean, we're every week you're trying to prove yourself. Every year you try to prove yourself. There's no point do you ever feel like this is you interview every day essentially, and that's the NFL. That's coaches, that's players. We're all constantly interviewing for our job, and we're all constantly trying to prove that we can do our job to the level that's required. And so that doesn't change my perspective or my thinking whatsoever. But it's going to remain the same. Is I'm trying to go prove that I'm capable of the job, and we all are. That's exactly how everybody takes it in the NFL. It's the same in every building across the league. I think, because we're all trying to prove it every week.
Brian, this seems to be a step for you guys in trying to win. The first thing you got to do is stop beating yourselves.
Correct.
And is that the number one basis behind it for you?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. There's the ways that we've found ways to give games away is challenging. It's put us in some tough spots over the course of the year, particularly defensively. Those are all parts of trying to of building a winning mentality, and you have to not lose the game first. And then the games that we've been in position to win, where we haven't lost it, by giving it away, then you got to do the next step, which is make the plays to win. And then we haven't done that well enough either. So all those things factor in, but certainly you can't give games away in the NFL, and good teams capitalize and they make you pay for it.
with Will, it seems like he always knows exactly what he did wrong. You've mentioned that before, and we hear it after games and press conferences. What do you think it will take to allow him to not have that 20/20 vision and have that, like, hindsight is 20/20, have that vision now, like, as things are happening?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've really worked hard on is taking it from the media room, where he's outstanding. I mean, he can see and talk and diagnose and understand everything that's happening, to the practice field, where he tends to see it all really well during practice. And then the third step is the game, and that's the performance part. And we got to do a better job. I got to do a better job of finding ways to make that connection from practice to the games on Sundays, to where it feels, looks, and is executed the same way. And so that's always the challenge with all players, particularly young ones, is that you're trying to keep building that meeting room to practice to game, that consistency overall. And that's where we've had some disconnect a little bit, is the consistency from those two spots to performance on Sunday.
There are a lot of folks who think this team is soft physically and mentally. How would you respond to that idea?
I mean, you really want to get me going today? Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think it's complete and total. If you want my honest opinion, these guys are tough, man. They go after it every day. They play hard as hell, and there's at no point have we ever put on tape at any point this season that this is a soft football team. Like I can't even wrap my mind around how that would even be a conversation. I mean, just because we don't win games doesn't mean we're soft. These guys play their off. They play hard. They play physical. You can ask any team that plays against us that when they come off the field, they know they played us. Yeah, that makes me relatively angry that would be some presumption. That means you just don't. You don't do anything about it, that you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're looking at. So I'm not going to stand for anybody calling this football team soft. So if there's opinions out there that feel that way, then they don't know anything about NFL football. So I'd like you to walk in there and call one of these guys soft and see what happens. This is not a soft football team at all, mentally or physically. And I think one of the things mentally that's really been impressive about the team is that the way that they keep fighting through the way that this season has gone. They've not shown at any point that they're not up to the task. They come out every day and work. They have. I mean, I'm really. You're gonna really get me going now. I mean, these guys come out here and they do everything possible to win games. And if there's any assumption anywhere that's outside of this building, again, we don't focus on all those things, but there's no possible explanation to say that this team is soft any way, shape, or form, mentally or physically. And the way that they go about their work it's insulting to me, to them, to everyone that works here. So I'm not that no chance ever in hell would I ever admit that to be the case, and neither would anybody in this locker room. So you can kind of shove that one honest. So.
Your own guys, Brian, said it was cold in Washington.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with him being soft. I don't know if you've watched Jarvis play, but he's a tough of it. So whether he likes cold weather or not, that's not really our problem. I think he played pretty damn hard everywhere he's been, and every game he's been out there. So yeah, I don't take too much stock into that.
As a first-year head coach, why was it so important for you to emphasize the standard of play, for instance, with the choice to go with Mason this week?
Yeah, well, we're all. There's always a standard to be had, and when you're not playing well enough, every other player's subjected to it. The quarterbacks are no different, and so there's ability to know that when you don't play well enough, that we have to find someone else that'll try to step into that role. Because that's how you know what the standard is. If you allow it to continue at any position that's below what we're asking and below what's expected, that's usually what happens. And so that's how you create the standard. Is you're very clear about what the expectation is and whether or not we've met it. And if you don't meet it, then that's where change occurs at every position. So that's probably the cleanest way to say it, is that's establishing the standard. That's part of establishing what that standard is and what the expectation is.
Beyond Will, the entire team has been too inconsistent to that standard for this season. What is the standard you hope to see in the final 3 games, and a definition of what this team ends as?
Yeah, I think we're looking for down-to-down execution, looking for series to series, to where you can see the consistent play that allows us to put ourselves in position to win, and there's inconsistencies with turnovers, there's inconsistencies with our red zone offense and defense, and so those are all the things we're trying to tighten up and play a better brand of football over the last 3 weeks against 3 divisional teams. And again, the divisional games matter and are things that we're trying to improve at a rapid rate, and the hope is that we can see that improvement over the course of the last 3 games.
Are there areas where you feel like you've met that standard? This team has met that standard?
Yeah, I mean, we're always striving to meet the standard. It's hard to say you've ever met it. That's why it's hard to achieve. But the key is that you're always striving to get there, and that's the point. And if you do enough things right over the course of a series, of a game, of a season, if you have enough consistency, then you find that you win more games than you lose, and that's the key. But you're always striving to meet that standard at every turn. And yeah, there's moments where we've met it, and there's moments where we haven't. I mean, that's why we're a 3-win football team right now, is we haven't had enough of that. So that's the key, is we keep striving to get there, and we keep striving to make that what we're trying to get every single day. And yeah, there's been times where we've done some things really, really well over the course of a game, and there's some times where we haven't been as good as we want to be, and that's why that's what our job is. That's why we're employed. That's why we do what we do, is we're trying to coach and get to the spot that leads us to more wins as the games go on.
Mason's had his share of turnover issues this year as well. Can you maybe explain why that is different than what Will's been through, or how it's more correctable or more?
Say it one more time.
Mason, I think he's turned the ball over his last 4 games. He's paid in 5 or 6. Just why is his turnover issues more different than Will's in a way?
There's some differences and there's some similarities. You know, I mean, there's the turnovers are the turnovers, and we've done it way too much as it is. There's just been a lot of them, and we got to find a way to not have as many as we've had, and we're going to find ourselves in a much better position to win games without them. And so, again, it's more the sometimes how they happen and where they happen that are more crushing than others. That's probably the best way to explain it.
Is it fair to say, I guess, that Will's turnovers, the vast majority of them are more mental than any physical?
There's probably a combination of all of it. You know, that's how I always say that every interception's got a story. You know, there's always a reason how and why they happen and what the result is and why the decision was made, why the throw happened. So they're not all created equal either. There's definitely some that are more disappointing than others, I think. And so it's been a combination. It's not been one single thing every time. And then, both quarterbacks have had those moments.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right. You get the news, Mason, and kind of what's the message to you? What are your marching orders?
Yeah, I found out Callie talked to me yesterday. Yeah, Tuesday yesterday morning. So, excited and thankful to get another opportunity to go out there and play with this team. I feel good about our, the group and the plan we got, and it'll be fun to get out there and play football again on Sunday.
You've been in a variety of these situations where you've had to come in for a guy or replaced a guy. How do you kind of handle that dynamic with Will specifically?
It's an easy dynamic. He's a good guy. We got a good relationship, and he's been supportive, and there's really been nothing weird about it. Obviously, I'm sympathetic. I know what it feels like for the switch to be made, but we've always had each other's backs.
Mason, you're here under a 1-year deal. How much is this an opportunity for you to showcase your skills for either staying here or to have a chance with somebody else next year?
I'm focused on winning the game. I mean, I know there's obviously every player wants to play well and have a long career, but I'm focused on winning the game Sunday and celebrate with my teammates.
I feel like this year's gone for you. You came in, obviously knew your role coming in, got a chance to play, now back in the saddle again. How would you kind of evaluate how it's going for you here? And a lot of it be determined by what happens here over the next 3.
I think you never know how it's going to go. Each week is wild, and you just try to prepare the best that you can and be ready to play on Sunday if and when your number's called. I think we're 3-11, so I haven't done enough to help our team when I played, but I feel like I've done some good things, and I want to build on them and get out there and put a winning performance together Sunday.
From your perspective, how has Callahan gone about just making sure that things go from the classroom to the practice field and then practice field to games? How has that been for you?
I think that is a fundamental, core, principle of coaching, and I think he does a good job of that. I think our staff does a good job of that. The detail and the run plan each week. I think we probably have one of the best offensive line coaches in the history of the game, and it's been fun to see the installation process and the guys buy in, and we've ran the ball pretty darn well, outside of a couple weeks, week in and week out. So we had a good start today, and focused on having a good day tomorrow and Sunday.
You came from Pittsburgh where winning was a staple there for your entire time and even before that. What's been this hard part about coming here and this team going through what it's gone through?
I think it's been a different perspective. It's been new and fresh, and I was excited for the new and fresh challenge. I had a good time, in Pitt, but I was looking forward to a new challenge, and I've loved this group, and I think adversity is the sometimes the best teacher, and it is never fun when you're going through it and when you're in the mixer. But I think there's a lot to be learned me personally, us collectively as a team this year, and I think we go out here and put a good performance on tape 1 week at a time, and end the season on a high note.
Mason, the team's in a different spot, obviously, than a year ago, but you came in week 15, you started in week 16. What can you take from that experience last season and winning those games that can help you now?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. It was, I think, pretty identical situation to last year. So, I think I just have enjoyed today, taking all the reps of practice and getting the walkthrough reps, and the collaboration with the coaches and the players, and I'm going to enjoy each and every day this week, get the most out of it, and focus on playing well in Indy.
When you come in, is there an aspect of it of not trying? I would imagine there'd be part of you that's like, oh, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take over. It's all that. Is there a part of you that almost has to hold back and not try to do too much?
Yeah, I think just do my job, and I'm not trying to be a hero. I mean, I one play at a time mindset. Hand the ball off, carry out your fake, or give it to the right person on the field and let them make somebody miss. And I've always tried to simplify it in my mind and not say we got to go out here and be perfect and win and not worry about 3 games. We're worried about 1 game this week.
Are you the type who addresses the team after decisions made like this, or do you kind of just let yourself?
No, I mean, I think I've always tried to. There's times where you need to speak up as a quarterback, but right now I'm putting my head down and try to let my play do the talking.
You're in year 7, Will's in year 2. How different are you from year 2 to 7 where you are now?
I think drastically. I think I think just experience. I think football IQ. Being with a couple different coordinators and seeing football schematically from a couple 3 different perspectives has been. It helps your comfortability, your confidence. The more football you can play, the better. And I think, I feel good right now.
Brian talked about how stylistically different you and Will are. How do you think the offense changes, or how much do you think the offense changes with you under center? I
don't know. That'll be for the spectator to make that call. I could care less about comparisons. I just want to do my part to move the chains.
Low sack percentage, Mason. What helps you in that regard? Is it quick release, quick processing?
Probably the lack of athleticism. You know what I mean? Just gotta know when to get the ball out. No, I think I try to go through each week, know where my check downs are, and hold on to it to the last minute. I'm not gonna beat anyone with speed. Yeah, just try to get the ball on time and negate the rush at times and move the chains.
Do you think the chemistry you built during the stint before you started those games is going to help, especially with this group now just picking back up again and starting to at least this week?
I do. I think didn't get a lot of reps in training camp with those guys, but we've had 4.5, 5 games now, so I feel real comfortable with the skill position guys.
Coach looking different this time around compared to first time you saw them?
They're a little healthier, right? So they've got, DeForest Buckner back, and they're a physical defense. Gus Bradley, got a lot of respect for him. Been across the field from him on a few different occasions, and they're always an assignment sound, schematically sound defense. So it'll be a good challenge for us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.